On paper, my life is great. I'm 19, business is making decent money. I have 11 girlfriends, family that supports me, and all the free time in the world. Yet, I feel the worst I have ever felt. I came up with a plan. So what's the number one thing that we need to figure out before we actually start searching for the solution? Problem. Because if we don't know this, we can't really figure out the plan, right? The purpose of this is more of an illustration than it being practical. It's more for me. One could say that I lost hunger, that I got too comfortable, urgency that is pulling me to do stuff, right? Comfort. We also got procrastination, reading, going for walks, drawing, basically doing good things for the wrong reasons. And also, one thing that I'm noticing is that I sit too much in front of a screen and I feel like I'm stuck in this loop. I'm doing something I don't really want to be doing. As I started filming this video, I was able to reconnect with myself a little more because I'm noticing the patterns from my life, how easily I can get excited about the project to then completely abandon it like later on. Yet if I just remind myself that everything worthwhile took years to build in my life and it didn't happen overnight, which, don't get me wrong, sometimes getting excited about a project might not be the bad thing because it takes
apparently 20 hours to get proficient in whatever you want to do, but usually people procrastinate on getting those first 20 hours in to make progress towards that skill. So
from that perspective, yes, it makes sense, but from the perspective of keeping the benefit long term, it kind of sucks because I want to do so much that I ultimately end up doing nothing. There is this business, there's this English project, movie I want to shoot, books I want to read, body I want to build. I'm going crazy. What does one do in situations like this? Do you allow your passions to take over, or you get stuck in the structure? So if we come back to the plan, obviously you don't want to spend your whole day in front of a screen. You might, but for my own reasons, I don't really want to do that. And I think most of you don't want to do that as well. So maybe the structure and discipline won't feel that's limiting that bad. Because if you stay up late and wake up late, of course the morning is not going to feel super productive. Of course, if you hate looking into the screen all day and you got all these endless tasks, no idea where you're gonna finish, and so I'm kind of putting a hard line to that because I wanted to try something else, for instance. That's basically saying no to work after a certain time. I will, turn off the computer, turn off the screen after, 5 p.m. Like, there is still a lot of time to be utilized, there is still a lot of possibilities to work and do stuff, but maybe leaving more space to yourself, maybe leaving space to wander, maybe leaving space to your passions, to your projects you love, might actually be beneficial for you. The funny thing, I thought this video is going to be about documenting the journey of going from something to becoming a full-time filmmaker, making 4,000 a month or something like that. But I kind of let my fingers run through the keyboards and I came up with something more personal, something deeper to me. I mean, if you really think about it, it does all come down to finding the discipline and being disciplined because, what else you can do? Perfect. And since there was a lot on my mind and this felt more urgent than rather documenting how I make money and doing that stuff, I figured that video could wait. So now I have a whiteboard behind my desk, which I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with, but it's there if I needed something. So as I've been building up the momentum for the last couple of days and been figuring out how to make the system work, I realized how important it is to be patient and grateful for what you do and what you have, as well as appreciate the process, otherwise it's gonna make you feel like you are burning out and you are losing your mind. I did a bunch of journaling over the last few days and it definitely helps. It's one of those habits that kind of makes difference and noticeable difference quite early on, especially when you have a lot on your mind and when you have a lot to say. Looking back at my life, the consistency was no doubt the biggest, most important thing in my life. Because nothing great ever comes from doing something 5 minutes, you know. It might, but the chance of that happening is closer to zero, you know. I'm so guilty of this because I genuinely expect things to happen much quicker than they are possibly able to. You know, I'm surprised I'm gonna say something like this, but as much as it sounds like it's going to limit you, the structure actually makes sense. And if you are careful enough and set it up the right way, it actually ends up creating more freedom for you than it ends up taking away from your life. But I think the goal should be to leave some space for the passion projects, keep the structure, because you're gonna end up with all this free time, and however good your productivity or however good your discipline might be, it's much easier to get lost than it is to stay on the track if you don't have the structure in your day, or like at least an idea of where you're going. Because if you lose sight of that, it becomes exceptionally challenging to find it again. It has been a journey. Don't forget to be kind to yourself, because that's what matters the most, I think. And thank you so much for sticking out till the end. More videos coming out, definitely. So if you enjoyed this one to this point and you found something valuable in it, consider hitting the subscribe. Take care.